Hey folks, Salty Seaman here, giving a fight breakdown on the John Jones versus Reyes fight. Great fight. I really enjoyed it, and it's one of those fights where like a lot of John Jones fights, when they're very close, people have opinions. Whether or not it was a just decision, or the other guy got robbed, whether or not John Jones is really deserving of a lot of the wins he has. And and I'm not like the giant biggest John Jones fan here. I'm not a fanboy or anything, but I do appreciate who he is and what his skills are. And one of the main things I had a problem with this, not a whole lot, I'd say, but definitely a lot of people talking about a robbery, and this is bullshit and this is blah blah blah. And it bugged me. It bugged me enough to make this statement on it. So I thought I'd break it down, round by round, what I saw, and for whatever it's worth of my opinion of a fight. But to start it off, yes, I thought Jones won. And no, and I don't think that was like a very clear decision. If you saw it another way, 3 rounds to 2, absolutely you have a right to have that opinion. But I will break it down. The people who are just completely blown away, they think Jones, Reyes won, Dominic Reyes won rounds 1 through 3, Jones won 4 and 5. How could you see it any other way? If you're that dumb, I mean, you probably shouldn't be watching this sport. But I will help you a little bit here for those willing to listen. And here's my opinion on it. We'll start off with round 1. Jones comes in with Reyes. Reyes immediately starts off. He's hitting hard. He's looking to be a very fast moving, dominant. He's trying to win this round very, very hard. I don't think he went in there looking, he may have went in there like thinking maybe I can get the knockout right away. Probably not. He's seen Jones. He's seen his chin. It wasn't going to happen, but he definitely dominated the first round. And there's no doubt in my mind, Reyes won the first round. I don't think anyone's denying that. I don't think Jones would deny that. And he hasn't. I'm pretty sure on his own, what he gave at the press conference, he gave Reyes the first round. And he did it very well. He was being the more dominant person. He was putting Jones on his heels. He was connecting very well. Jones just kind of was just laying back, and I think that's what he does in a lot of these fights where he feels it's a difficult challenge. I think Jones has shown propensity to give the first round away, which I don't personally think is a very great strategy in general. We're talking 5-round fights here. This is not boxing with 12 or 14 or whatever. Just giving up rounds, I think, is a poor strategy. But that's the way him and the Winkle John Jackson camp kind of work. And there's a method to their madness, and I get that too. At some point it's going to bite them in the ass. But John was being very hesitant. He took a lot of shots. And it didn't work well for him. He got knocked down, not by what I first thought was a shot to the jaw, like a legit knockdown. No, he got knocked down by a punch to the chest, which in its own right is an amazing thing. Is like you take a guy with a balance and physicality of John and you punch him in the chest and make him fall down. I think it's incredibly impressive. Absolutely first round for Dominic Reyes. Now, round 2, and then the next 2 rounds, I think, are the most controversial, and this is where the decision can get to, depending on, how you're viewing it, how you're judging it, and also a little bit about your own biases, is where you're going to, have some problems. Because this round, I thought Jones won. and a lot of people don't think he won this round. Dave Meltzer, Wrestling Observer, did not think he won this round. He thought, that he gave this round to, we actually have, our split. He gave Reyes the entire fight, and this is the round he gave him. But in my personal opinion, Jones was kind of another match of the first round. But here's the thing, and if you want to disagree with me or not or question it, if you look at the fight metrics afterwards, Reyes had the most strikes by far. Blah blah blah. I don't agree with that. I don't think that's true. When I was watching it, without knowing anything about it, I thought Jones was slipping a lot of those punches. If they were landing at all, they were very, very grazing shots, and definitely not something I would consider a significant shots. And I think, but still very, very close, and he definitely hit him. But Jones came back at the end of the second round, as he does often. He'll wait till the end of the round and then start putting pressure on. Jones had the more significant strikes. He was doing the more damage. Yes, Reyes was pushing the pace. He was the aggressor. He was going forward, and he was showing like he was showing the most shots. But I don't think he was. I really, honestly don't think he was. I think Jones dodged and slipped a lot of those. And defensive fighting is part of the game. You only have to look at Floyd Mayweather to people complain about his decisions all the time in that realm. But judges do look at that, and of course, there's always a difference between what you're looking at cage side, what you're looking at multi-camera setup on your TV. You're going to see different things. Whether one's better than the other, it's very debatable. I think there's an argument for both, depending. But most people seem to think, sitting cage side watching it, you see more better. Of what's going on, and I think the judges saw what I saw, or at least I assume they always gave this round to Jones like I did. Reyes was not actually hitting him that much. He looked like he was, especially in a lot of camera angles. But you're really paying attention to it. Jones was slipping a lot of it. He was just moving out of the way. If he was getting any bit tagged in a lot of the shots, it was a very, very grazing shot. He did get legitimately hit a couple of times, of course, but I thought Jones did the most damage and the most significant strikes of the fight. Volume or whatever, and what Fight Metric put out. And again, I don't think Fight Metric got it right. But that's why I gave it to Jones. But at the same time, it's very, very close. If you judge aggression and output versus what Jones did, I think it does keep it a very, very close match there. But in my opinion, from what I saw, he slipped most of it. He was on his heels, but when it came down to the last minute 30 seconds, he's the one who delivered actual strikes that hurt the opponent. So that's why I gave it to Jones over just he edged him out. I'm not saying it was a clear dominant win whatsoever, and this is why it's one of those rounds that can go either way. Now you go to the third round, and we're all in the same boat. Reyes is the aggressor; he's the one going out. Jones seems to be on his heels, trying to figure out what the hell to do with the guy. But in this round, I think it's a lot of the same activity that happened in round two. But this time I do think Reyes, he landed enough versus what Jones did in the latter half of the round. Again, significant, and he was playing the same game, and I think he did slip a lot of the stuff in the earlier rounds that I think did get counted on a Fight Metric, which shouldn't have. But overall, I think he did, Reyes did more than enough to edge out that round from Jones. Jones didn't do enough at the end of round three to take the round, so I give it to Reyes. So I got it Reyes up 2-1. We got 2 rounds left, and we get to rounds 4 and 5. There's not a lot of controversy and decision on who won these rounds. Pretty much everyone says, Jones won the championship rounds 4 and 5. We'll look at them, a little briefly here. I think, round 4 started off pretty much on the exact same thing rounds 1 through 3 had. But, obviously there's, by the middle, not even quite the middle of the 4th round, Reyes was slowing down. He was, Jones has been in a billion championship fights. He knows what the 4th round's like. And I think he counts on that round a lot, rounds 4 and 5, to really pull in whatever. And I think it's what happened here. And, and then that round could have, you if you really want to, if you really think Reyes is like that great, you can make a little bit of an argument for it, but most people don't. Jones came back, about minute 2 into round 4 and took over the fight, and without a doubt, I think took that round. And then round 5, same thing, only even more. There's absolutely no doubt in anyone's minds Jones won round 5. And you look at like the 2 consensus rounds out of all of it. Jones won 5. He had the takedowns. He had the better strikes. He was certainly outpacing Dominic by that point. In round 1, no doubt Jones wasn't doing a whole lot, and he was just basically in the position he was giving up the round just to try to figure this guy out and just avoid like a lot of his power. Even though he got hit by it a couple times and recovered. But yeah, by my count, that is, rounds 2, 4, and 5 Jones, and it's only 1 and 3 for Reyes. And there's other people who have similar things. Sometimes you switch rounds 2 and 3 because both of them are very close, and that's an important point. Is close rounds. When you have close rounds, if you admit to yourself they're close, judges can take it either way, and they see different things than what you see on TV. And in my personal opinion, Jones edged out round 2, and I don't think Dominic got as much attack as a lot of people think he did, and what Fight Metric actually said he did. And I think round 3 is about right. I think they still gave Dominic a little bit too much of an edge of what he actually hit versus what John slipped out of. But I still think he did more than what John did in that round, and that's why I give him that round. And you look at other factors. And they said that's round count. What are we talking about in terms of what counts and what doesn't count? If you manage to touch a guy but he's basically otherwise slipping it and you just kind of graze him, I will count it a little bit, but I think it counts for a lot less. I think one of the things I do give Reyes a lot of credit for. I give Reyes a lot of credit. Like the dude's an animal. He's amazing. He went in there against one of the greatest of all time. Any other championship fight, Reyes would be champion right now. Just put that out there. What a dude. But Winklejohn, Jackson, and Jones, they know how to score. They know how to score fight, and they proved it here, and they proved it in a few other. The last fight, the first Gustafsson fight. Lots of other places. They know how to do this stuff. And I think they kind of proved it out. But one of the things I think, there's people talk about, Jones had takedowns late in the 4th and 5th rounds. And he didn't do a whole lot with them, but there's still points. And I think that added to his whole thing. I think where Reyes, gets a little downgraded is, the blocked head kicks. And I'll say this, and he did land one very flush with the toe, not the perfect head kick you want to do. You want to land it on the shin. But, there's, we saw the replay. He landed one real good on, John Jones. John Jones just is a tough dude. Obviously, that's why he's been champion forever, and no one's ever actually beat him. But I think, he threw a lot of really hard head kicks that were, yes, blocked by the arm, I consider that some damage, even though it's technically a blocked kick. I think when you kick that hard and that flush, and the only thing is blocking it is a forearm, you're damaging that forearm, and that should count for some kind of points. And that's I'll give Dominic all those points in terms of that. I think that's a very important part. I think a lot of people overlook is like, well, he didn't actually hit the head kick. No, you don't understand. You kick somebody in the head that hard, that flush, you're doing damage whether or not he put his arm up or not. We can go back to Randy Couture, Gabriel Gonzaga. On that one, Gabriel Gonzaga throws up this giant head kick. Randy blocks it. We all cheer, yay, because we love Randy, and that's my favorite fighter of all time. Randy got his arm broken that fight. If that fight had somehow gone 5 rounds, it may have changed, but the actual fight itself, Gabe Gonzaga was not anywhere in Randy's league in terms of knowing how to, maneuver around a fight, especially a 5-round fight. And he just, Randy just out-thunk him and out-strategized him despite being the much smaller guy against the much younger, stronger opponent. But at the same time, yeah, he blocked the head kick that knocked out Crow Cop, but it broke his friggin' arm. I think those things have to count for points. And saying all this, not to, disparage Dominic Reyes and what he is, he is that good. And I would really, really, really like to see this ran back, because I think both can, I think John will adjust a lot, and he said as much in the press conference, and Reyes will as well. I think, and plus just his youth and strength and size, and, he's got all those tools, and we say this about a lot of guys in the light heavyweight division, like, so, if John Joseph was a champion there, we would have had a lot more light heavyweight champions over the years, Gustafsson, Rumble, and now I think Dominic, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, it's to be the man, you got to beat the man. And, I think that's a guy that could have John's number, especially as he gets older and Reyes starts getting into his prime, depending on when they want to do the rematch. I think in John's favor, he should do it sooner rather than later, because I think later, unless, he gets kind of ruined by other fights, I think what kind of happened with Gustafsson. But even now, it's like it's much later in his life. Like, I mean, I'm talking like John's like an old man. He's 32, I think. But, it's, he's not the same guy at 25. He's changed a lot. And he has, probably one of the greatest coaching people on earth, whatever you think of Jackson Winklejohn. But yeah, I would really like to see this ran back within a year. I have no problem, both of them taking another fight in between. There's always a thing of John going up to heavyweight and, taking on Stipe. I don't think a rematch with DC is ever going to happen again. But, money talks and bullshit walks. We all know that. Could possibly happen. But I would like to see this ran back at the end of the year. Give both of them a fight in between. They both win. I don't think there's no reason not to rematch them and see this again, because I think it's a very exciting heavyweight or light heavyweight fight. And, we don't get the same situation where, I think we waited too long between, for various reasons, and I'm not blaming anything, Gustafsson and Jones the second time, or, Jones kind of sat out a lot of time and just, had a lot of time to think about Gustafsson. And Gustafsson was in there fighting the best of the best. And, by the time they finally rematched, it was like, we saw what happened. And at the same time, not denigrating Jones at all. Like he's still undefeated essentially, and still, one of the greatest champions of all time, because he really is that good. He really is that talented. He really is a great general of the ring / cage, despite all his bullshit outside the said cage. Yeah, that's about all I have for it. Just seeing a lot on it, and a lot of people have their opinions. I have no problem if you, like I said, you had it 3-2 Reyes. I agree. It's like that's a valid opinion. Even the one thing I wanted to touch on, that one judge gave it 49-46, and there's a lot of bad judging that night. And you can look at that as like, man, that's a shitty score. At the same time, everyone's also saying rounds 2 and 3 were super, super close. So if they're both close rounds, then why couldn't some judge give both rounds to Jones? Even though overall, looking at the fight, yeah, it's a lot more closer than a 49-46 would tell you. But that's the nature of scoring. This isn't Pride. This isn't the old days. We have a system. It's based on boxing. Doesn't always work exactly right. What are you going to do? Best thing to do is not leave in the hands of the judges and finish your opponent. Anyway, that's all the Salty Seaman has got for now. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope one time, hopefully in the future, maybe I'll come back with another MMA type video. Anyways, in the meantime, I love you freaks. Peace.